Welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, and today we're going to be looking at my official Battleground forecast map for the 2024 presidential election. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. And so we see here Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the presumptive nominees for both parties respectively for this election. Donald Trump, has opened up the electoral college map that no Republican has since McCain or Romney, in the 2008 and 2012 elections. Those candidates were basically DOA when you really look back at it. And in 2004, Bush kind of had a southern electoral path to the White House, but Donald Trump has actually opened up both sides of the nation, or at least both parts of the nation, the South and the North, for Republicans to make gains in. And we see in the five-way race, Donald Trump leads the national popular vote by 4.2 percentage points. That is almost 12 points on net better than what he was leading by in 2020, and about 8 points better than what he was leading by in 2016. And we expect there to be a pretty big overestimation. The current aggregate as of right now has Donald Trump up by a little bit over 3 points. When we do our adjusted aggregate, that puts Donald Trump, when you apply an error of plus 4.5%, that gives you a plus 7.4 popular vote margin for the former president for this election. And so for the safe states for both candidates, we basically have all these states that Donald Trump essentially won by over 15 points in the previous cycle pretty easily, including Alaska, Maine's 2nd congressional district as well. We can also add Iowa, Ohio, Texas, and Florida into this column, as the former president has won these twice in more competitive elections. And with this national environment expected to be more of a one-sided election against Joe Biden, we really can't expect Texas and Florida to be in that category. The next two states that are going to be in the safe column in this rating are the states of Georgia and North Carolina. Despite them being competitive in 2020 and even Georgia going to President Biden last time around, in the state of Georgia, we actually see that the former president is leading here by 4 points, which is outside the margin of error. And in the five-way race, he leads by over 5 points. In the last election, he only led the aggregate here by 1 and then lost the election by a little bit less than half a point. Now he's polling outside the margin of error. And so we really can't expect the former president to lose this state as of right now. In North Carolina, Donald Trump has won this both times in 2020 and 2016 by over a percentage point. And with the national environment looking much more Republican, I also can't expect the state of North Carolina to be in any competitive range whatsoever. For the safe Democrat states, we have the state of California, Washington, the state of Oregon, which, yes, Oregon seems to be closer in our forecast, but is still above a 5-point margin of victory. And on top of that, we also see in the state of Oregon that the polling looks really good for President Biden there, despite it basically possibly shifting to the right of about 10 points this cycle. So we're going to be leaving those in the safe column, as well as the state of Illinois is going to be in that safe column. Yes, the polling has gotten closer, but the national average has not gone under 5 points in the state of Illinois, and this state has had a very deep Democrat history. Illinois voted 17 points for Biden last time around, 17.1 for Clinton in 2016, and 16.9% for Obama in 2012, plus 25 points in 2008. So it's been consistently Democrat for the past couple of cycles, so it's still going to be in that safe Democrat rating. Notice we are actually leaving Hawaii out of the safe Democrat category, and I'm going to explain why that is the case. For the state of Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, and DC, as well as the state of Connecticut, those are all going to be in the safe Democrat column for this rating. We have seen that the president, has maintained these margins pretty strong for the most part in polling data. He even won these states pretty easily in the last election. However, Delaware and New Jersey are not going to be in that column because of the fact that Joe Biden, despite winning here by quite a bit, Delaware has actually shown signs of it trending to the right by a ridiculous amount. And the only reason why I voted for Biden by so much last time was because Trump was somewhat unpopular, as well as the fact that this is Joe Biden's home state. But since Joe Biden's polling numbers are doing pretty bad here, we're actually not going to even leave this in that safe column as of right now. Maine's 1st congressional district will be in that safe Democrat column as well. leaving Biden with just 132 safe electoral votes to Trump's 251 electoral college votes. For the leaning Republican states, we have Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and the state of Michigan. So the entire Rust Belt in our forecast leans to the former president. We actually can see here in the polling data, we see Donald Trump in the state of Michigan leads by 1.2%. In the five-way race, he leads by 1.4 percentage points. He's always been underestimated in the polling in Michigan. The demographic margins with African Americans and Hispanics is not looking good for Joe Biden this cycle, so we are actually putting this in the lean category in our Battleground rating, including in the state of Wisconsin. That is the most right-trending Rust Belt state. Right now in the five-way race, Donald Trump leads by half a point, but the polling errors have always been historically off in these states. Biden, in both elections, the polling error was about 6 points in favor of the Democrats. So with that historical polling, as well as the fact that Donald Trump is significantly more popular than Joe Biden this cycle, and with Biden having his approval rating being almost 25 points worse than what it was in the previous cycle, I just can't see there being any way for the incumbent president to pick this off, neither in the state of Pennsylvania as well. I can't expect him to basically pick that off either. We also see in the state of Arizona and Nevada that the former president has pretty strong leads here, with Donald Trump actually leading outside the margin of error in Arizona, even in a two-way matchup essentially, which is fascinating. Hispanic voters are definitely going to push Donald Trump to the top in both of these states as of right now, and I'm very excited to see what the results will be on election day. However, I do expect the former president to win these states by over 5 points in the upcoming election. For the leaning Democrat states, we have the state of Colorado, which has voted for the incumbent president before by 13.5 points and has been trending Democrat ever since the early 2000s. However, because of Biden's poor polling numbers and his debate performance, we're actually moving this from safe Democrat to lean Democrat rating, as our projection actually has the state under 5 percentage points, and with a large third-party national vote share this year, the state could be unexpectedly close, and so we're going to be leaving that in the lean Democrat column. The state of Hawaii will go in the lean Democrat column in our forecast because the incumbent president has actually caused a bit of an issue here. The Maui fires, Biden's administration basically left them to dry. And when you look at polling data, the only poll with third-party candidates included actually has Biden only winning the state by 8 percentage points. It has also been the most right-trending state in the entire nation. Back in this election in 2008, Barack Obama won the popular vote by 7, and he was able to essentially win the state by 45. Then the popular vote only got a couple points closer, only like 3 points closer, but the state moved 3 points to the right. But then in 2016, the popular vote got just 2 points closer, but the state ended up getting 12 points closer. So it ended up trending to the right by 10 points that cycle. We also see here it only voted for Biden by 29 points, got closer than 2016, despite the nation moving to the left. So that is very interesting in the state of Hawaii. It's definitely a rapid trending state to the right. And even with Biden already being unpopular, the fact that he actually kind of left the Hawaiians to dry, it definitely affects his polling numbers here. And Donald Trump is actually polling ahead with Asians in my own national poll, and in multiple aggregates, he's basically getting competitive with that group, or actually just outright leading in that category. So I would not be surprised to see the state be closer than expected. So I'm actually going to leave that in the lean Democrat column in my rating. State of Delaware is in my lean rating as of right now. The state, the polls here have the state basically under 10 as of right now, but my forecast actually projects the state to only be a 6-point victory for the incumbent president. His whole, Delaware facade thing, even though, yes, this is his home state, that whole thing has kind of weared off after his national approval rating has essentially dipped by quite a couple points. And so I'm actually expecting a pretty way closer election than the last cycle. Is it going to be under 5? No, but I definitely think it's in range of being at least under 8 or 9 points. And in the state of New York, that is going to go in the lean Democrat column in this forecast. Now, the reason why I actually have it in this column here is because of the fact that the state's polling is under 10. We've seen the polling here in the city areas be exceptionally closer than before. And it's also the fact that the incumbent president is just way less popular than what he was before, and is way less popular than the last 4 national Democrats who've gone up in a general election. And so we can expect a way closer margin in the state of New York. And this state has also been trending to the right, and Donald Trump has kind of accelerated those trends by gaining with Hispanic and African American voters in the last cycle, and he's only going to continue that growth this time around. In the state of Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, I have that lean for Donald Trump as of right now, just because of the fact that they actually redistricted basically the district to be more Republican favorable. And even though it's a liberal area, the district has been redrawn to be more Republican friendly. And I do expect this district to go to President Trump by at least about 2 points this cycle. And so that leaves us with a couple of states left up for grabs. New Mexico, Minnesota, Virginia, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Maine at large are all going to be in the toss-up category for this cycle. All of the polling data here that has recently come out has had all of these states basically either under 5 points for Biden, or Trump is actually leading in some of these states by over 5. For example, in Maine at large, there was a +6 poll for Trump that recently came out of the state there. And with the large third-party vote share, I would not be surprised to actually see that state flip into the Republican column by a large amount. In the state of Minnesota, the polls have actually gotten pretty close here, and the state has not voted Republican since the 1972 presidential election when it voted for Nixon by about 5 percentage points. However, with Joe Biden being very unpopular nationwide, I wouldn't be surprised to see the state flip. It has gotten more relatively close to the nation than what it was back in 1972. And even Biden's own internal polling shows the state actually pretty competitive. It only shows Biden leading there by about 0.5 percentage points. So that is very fascinating to see. Similar thing in New Mexico. Donald Trump's actually losing the internal polling with Biden in the state of New Mexico. The governor of this state, including the governor out of Maine, both of these governors earlier today basically proclaimed that Biden may not even be able to win their states. And this is a suspicion that we've known for a very long time, especially with New Mexico. Donald Trump is gaining with Hispanics nationwide pretty rapidly. And with New Mexico being the most heavily Hispanic state in the whole nation, even though there is a large city of white voters that tend to skew more Democrat here in a place like Albuquerque, we believe that some of those voters are going to basically either sit out, vote third party, or revert to Donald Trump. And the Hispanic vote may actually carry Donald Trump in the state of New Mexico. It is currently a 2-point victory in our forecast. In a state like Virginia, we see the polling data has essentially become very tight here. This is a state that voted for Biden by pretty much 10 points in the last cycle. But with Glenn Youngkin winning the state at the gubernatorial level in 2021, we have seen some cultural reversion in the state of Virginia, and there's a possibility the former president could actually win it. The governor is trying to help him as much as he can in the state. The polling is really close. Donald Trump is gaining with young voters nationwide very rapidly. That is one of the reasons why Biden did so well here in the Nova area in the previous election. It was mainly because of young voters. If that demographic shifts towards Trump or mostly sits out or votes third party, that's going to really hurt Biden's margin in the state of Virginia. New Jersey, there's been polling that shows Donald Trump ahead. Yes, there are Republican internals, but the fact that Donald Trump is even up in a poll in New Jersey definitely shows that something is definitely brewing in the state as of right now. And we are leaving that in the toss-up category. New Hampshire, a Trump +2 poll recently came out. This is a liberal trending state. However, we are going to leave this in the toss-up category as polling suggests that it is going to be somewhat competitive, with Donald Trump being ahead by 2 points in the most accurate pollster in the state of New Hampshire. And so that is basically it for this video, guys. Donald Trump is up with 313 electoral college votes to Biden's just 177 with 48 toss-up electoral votes in the toss-up category, and that allows Donald Trump to pick up states like Minnesota, pick up New Mexico, pick up Virginia, pick up New Hampshire, pick up Maine, and even pick up the state of New Jersey, which would give him 361 electoral votes. If Biden is able to win all of these toss-up states, we will see a slightly closer election, but I would still expect the margins in some of those Rust Belt states and the Sun Belt states to still be pretty big victories as of right now. But I do believe that the former president is actually going to go out there and at least get 347 electoral votes as of right now, that is my personal forecast for this election so far. We will see who ends up being right, but clearly this is what my forecast map for a battleground, map looks like. The former president should really have this in front of him. Whoever his campaign manager is, they should be looking at this and seeing, okay, well, we can start expanding the map. Yes, still go to Wisconsin, still go to Michigan, still go to Pennsylvania, still go to Arizona, Nevada every once in a while, but this is really the Trump campaign's time, since it's still a little bit earlier, to try out states like New Mexico, try out states like Virginia, try out places like New Hampshire, Minnesota. So this is going to be a good thing for the former president. If you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content just like this, and I will see you guys in the next video.